What are the best traits to get early on in Forsaken Trail? Well, there is one that really sticks out. It's the experience one, learning one. You get more experience point by putting points into experience. That's like asking the genie for more wishes. Since the game lets you, that is of course something you should consider to max out at first to get maximum amount of skill points. Also, you do want to progress in the game and you do that by reading magazines. Craft 3 magazine fragment at once, the crafting time is reduced. And it might even have a slightly higher chance that you will actually read a full magazine. So that one is also a given if you want to progress fast in the game. Looting is also something I usually consider, because when you're not fighting, you are looting, so you pretty much be looting 50% of the time, and that takes time. When maxing it out, you increase your loot stage and the search time by almost 50%, and that makes the game more fun and you will get more loot quicker. I also maxed out Vigor, which gives you twice as much health. That is very useful when you're in combat. It might not be the most useful, it's better to not get hurt at all, but having twice as much health, that is really useful. And you really want to put some points into lifting, because you will be encumbered. You will not be able to bring all the loot home if you're limping, and then zombies might kill you. You don't need to max it out. Usually just 4 or 5 points into this. Turn up your light load to 95 when you start being encumbered, and your maximum load to 190. And that is usually enough for most type of loads, unless you are mining or taking home a lot of resources without a vehicle. So some points into this. But the absolutely most important thing that you need to do is put 1 point into research, because that is when you can start crafting literature fragments. You won't be able to craft them until you put 1 point in here. So that is the absolute first. And then you go for XP, and then you go for research, and a few into lifting. And then it's really up to you. You don't really need any skill points into a weapon that you don't have yet. If you want the shotgun, there's no reason to put points in here. I do think it affects the amount of magazines, just like in vanilla, because I've gotten very few shotgun magazines. So if you want magazines fast, then put skill points into it, but you can't use them until you actually have that weapon. Lockpicking is not needed, but there are very few lockpicks out there. They are not craftable. Usually the locked compartments are the best compartments, so in the later game try and put a few points in here, and maybe your lockpicks will be just enough for all the containers you want to loot. This game is really annoying when it comes to bleeding. I feel like I'm bleeding every other time a zombie hits me, and if you don't want that, you want to put points into coagulation. You will still bleed a lot, but not maybe as much. It doesn't really max it out, so you have immunity, so I don't think it's worth it at all.